Well, hey you, it's Alexis M. Lott of AlexisMLott.com, and today we are explaining imposter syndrome. What in the world is this buzzword that keeps going around, and why is it so important? If you have never heard of me before, one of the things I do on this YouTube channel is I help women who are called to lead, heal overthinking, and embrace your calling. So stay tuned for the intro video. We're going to talk all about imposter syndrome, and hint, hint, it has a lot to do with the reason why your perfectionist behavior keeps interrupting you accomplishing your goals. Ooh, girl, I can't wait to talk to you. See you after the intro. My name is Alexis M. Lott, and I use my communication talents to hold you accountable to living an abundant life. Guess what? After 15 years of figuring out how to heal from being molested as a kid, from being born with sickle cell disease, from being abused for years by a family member, from being bullied at school, I decided that it was time to take back the reins of my life. I made what Jesus did for me bigger than what anyone had done to me. And now my responsibility is to teach you how to do the same. I help women who are called to lead heal their overthinking mind and embrace their calling, especially if you've had a hard past. Welcome to my channel. I cannot wait to teach you and to love on you because I love you and there is nothing that you can do about it. Welcome in and let's get started. All right, we're back. I'm going to tell you a quick story and then we're going to dive right in. It is 2018 and I am working in a marketing job in Columbus, Georgia. And one of the things that is happening to me is I am trying to figure out how to get back into being a business owner. Because in 2017, I decided that I left my job as a youth pastor and I was exhausted, I was tired, I was burnt out, and I experienced so much of the church world. And it left me like wanting to really make my job at the time as a graphic designer a full-time income. So 2017 was terrible. Like, that was a hard year. I faced so much internal conflict. I couldn't charge the right prices. I felt like people were taking advantage of me. I was doing fly by night here and there projects. I could not keep consistent income. It messed with my mental health. I had bad fallouts with friends, with family. Like, it was just a terrible, tough year. And inside of that year, something like random started happening to me. Also is that like in 2017, I start like catching feelings for this guy that I was hanging out with from my church group. And the crazy thing is that I, at the beginning of 2018, felt like the Lord this time told me, girl, you need to date him. Like, he's the one that I've sent. You can calm down. And so I decided to embark on this journey, like more on me and Mr. Lott later. We have a whole segment in this YouTube channel called Ask the Lotts, and it's really funny. We are nobody's marriage counselors or advice givers, but dating, we got you, because we were two, believers trying to figure out how to date, with both of us having a bunch of unhealed stuff in the past. And so here we were. Long story short, I decided to, trust God that he was the right person. And quickly after me making the decision to date him, me feeling inadequate and unworthy, one of the things that happened to me was I got an offer for a job. And I remember my friend Tam, shout out to Tamra, Laughing Girl with Tam, her YouTube channel is down here. And she was like, girl, God's going to keep opening doors for you because you decided to obey him. And one of the things that happened was I got this job at a marketing company, but I still had a passion and desire to be a full-time entrepreneur, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work. And so the wisest thing to do was to go get a job. Okay. So went and got the job, and I'm in there working. And one day, Tam, she has her business, center stage, and I have my business with the, graphic design and the marketing and the social media. And I'm looking at my life and I'm like, man, I really wish I knew how to do more with what it is that I've learned. I've gone to school. I have taught people social media stuff, but I'm just not feeling very fulfilled. And I remember Tam texted me at work and she was just like, Lex, we need to find like a business conference to go to. I'm struggling. And so we start looking at tickets for conferences to go to help us with business, and child, them tickets was expensive. And so the Holy Spirit whispered to me and was like, why don't you just do your own conference? And I was like, do my own. I'm nobody's business coach. I'm nobody's teacher. I'm really good with marketing. Like, I'm decent, but I'm not qualified, God. And I remember the Lord in my office telling me, you need to look up the imposter syndrome. And when I started researching what the imposter syndrome was, y'all, child, the imposter syndrome is a deep feeling of unworthiness and inadequacy that you have about your gifting and your calling. So as a result, you try to perfect your way of not being seen as a fraud. You try to overcompensate for not being seen as a fraud. Your worst fear is for someone to pull the wool out of what you're doing and say, you're not qualified, you're not enough, she's an imposter, she just got up here and is throwing stuff off the top of her head, she doesn't really know what she's talking about. That's the imposter syndrome. And so as I went like deeper and deeper into my journey of understanding what the imposter syndrome was, it's basically the spirit of fear, but it's manifested in this new age type of way called the imposter syndrome. But it's the spirit of fear. And one of the things that it causes you to do, like Adam and Eve in the garden, is live with this deep sense of shame. Like, who am I to teach these people? Who am I to lead these people? Who am I to be a voice to someone in this area? God, I was cool with you telling me I could talk about any other area but this one. And so it was so funny because the Lord, I felt the impression from his spirit to just not let up on, being known as a teacher and a consultant for marketing. And I didn't have everything I needed to help my friend. I didn't have everything I needed to help myself, but what I had was enough. And so I decided to put out a conference called 2020 Vision. And in 4 days, I posted that flyer on social media and it sold out in 4 days. And because so many people were mad that they did not get a chance to come to the first one, the in-person conference before the pandemic, I had to have a second one. And then when I decided to have a second one, that conference sold out. And so I was like, okay, wait a minute, we're on to something here, God. And one of the things that I decided to do was to open up the floor and to trust God that more seats could come. And so I went from just a 25-seater room to a 100-seater room. And by faith, I was able to pay for that room. And so the imposter syndrome makes you feel like all the talent, all the skills, all the things that you've learned is not enough in comparison to where you need to go, who you need to be. And you don't feel like you're the type of person that needs to be speaking on or have wisdom. You don't feel like the expert in your field because you don't know enough. And so there are 5 different personalities that flow out of the imposter syndrome. And so let me pull them up right quick. So you have the perfectionist. This is the person who, it is in the word, you will dot every I, cross every T, make sure that everything is good enough and as perfect as possible so that no one will think you're not good enough, so that no one will believe that you didn't give this your all. The perfectionist a lot of times struggles with procrastination because in the process of trying to make it perfect, you waste a lot of time. And so here's my wisdom to you. Done is better than perfect. If you can just get it done, God will handle the rest. Number 2 is the Superwoman or the Superman, because this can be a man syndrome, but it is scientifically proven that more women struggle with this than men. The Superman and Superwoman is in the word. They try to do too much. You are every role. You are every person. You are every responsibility. You don't let anyone come in and help you. You want to swoop in and save the day because you don't want anyone to think that you can't. The number 2 is the natural genius. You are the person who believes that you're just supposed to know, that the research and if you're called upon to know about a subject, the research and the deep thinking and the heartfelt work that you have to do, you feel almost a sense of insecurity that says that I'm just supposed to know this. And if someone quizzes me at any point in time, I can never tell them these words. Hold on, let me get back with you, or let me find out. The third one is the soloist. You want to go at it alone. So this is different than the Superwoman because the Superwoman tries to do all the roles. But the soloist is someone who is like, if I have to say the words, you know how this whole thing happened with Kylie Jenner where they were mad at her because they were like, she's not a self-made millionaire. Well, the soloist wants to be known as self-made. They don't want anyone else to get the credit. And it's not because they don't like people or they don't want people. It's just because for them in the sight of their community, you having a self-made or a self-driven image is more highly valuable than being a part of a group that got it done. Because what is being said of you is that you're not strong enough to do it on your own by yourself. You feel like an imposter. And then the last one is the expert. The expert is the person who needs to have all the research, all the information, all the thinking, all the online courses, all the master classes, in order for them to just go and do what they're supposed to do. If you can't tell already, the two that I identify with the most are the perfectionist and the expert. The expert is just, the expert in me wants to have all the information first, because it's hard to think that someone may call you out and say, well, you don't know enough. So the imposter syndrome, I hope you understand this explanation. I hope you understand how it shows up. If you want further research, you stay right there. So y'all know my videos, I do a lot. But this book right here, The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women, Why Capable People Struggle or Suffer from the Imposter Syndrome and How to Thrive in Spite of It. This book right here, oh my gosh, it is a game changer. It is by Dr. Valerie Young. And I want you to go read this book if you have time. But if you don't, just stay tuned to this podcast, because what I do is I help high-performing women who are called to lead, heal overthinking, and embrace their calling. And we're going to be talking more about the imposter syndrome. So please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share. And you can also go back to my previous video that I filmed last week. And one of the things that I talked about was consistency and some strategies on how to stay consistent. And it has a lot to do with feeling like an imposter and perfectionist behavior. I love you. This is Alexis M. Lott. You can follow me on every social media outlet at Alexis M. Lott, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. I will see you soon.